All right, wonderful. Well, welcome everyone, and good morning. My name is Ruth Cologne-Wagner, and I'm the Director of Training and Development for the New York Association of Psychiatric Rehabilitation Services, also known as NIAPRS. We're very proud today to present to you the fifth and final webinar in our care management training entitled Developing Your Toolkit. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our partners in this project, NYCCP, CPI, the Coalition, and NYSCCBH for all of their hard work, flexibility, dedication to providing quality training for all of us. To thank all of you as well. Your work is incredibly valuable, and we are thankful to you for trusting us again to provide you with training. I'm to provide you some scheduled reminders. So while today is the last webinar for care managers, we have 3 more activities, and they are for supervisors. Can we go to the next slide, please? Moving the slides.
They're on my end. I can see.
Okay, so which slide is up?
But I'll go back to schedule.
Okay. Oh, so reminders, yes. All right, I'm sorry. So apparently the error is on my end. And so while today is the last webinar for care managers, we have 3 more activities in there for supervisors. The next is the Learning Collaborative Call, and that's on Tuesday, January 31st. That's then followed by the Implementation Call. It's on Tuesday, February 14th. Again, both of those are for supervisors. And then we have the final face-to-face session where we will wrap everything up. And it's for supervisors. And for Region 4, that will be on March 7th at the Coalition on William Street. For Region 5, that will be on March 8th at Coalition as well on William Street. And then for March 10th, that is Region 6, and that's for Long Island. And that's going to be at the TEC Resource Center in Farmingdale, Long Island. So I want to talk about some reminders. So if you're joining us today as a group, at the end of the webinar, you're going to find a page that's going to pop up and asking you to enter information on everyone who's in attendance and watching along. And this really does help us reduce attendance errors. So please stick around and enter in the information requested there. Today's webinar will be recorded and made available in about a week's time for everyone who is unable today to view it live. Next, I want to talk about outreach and attendance. As I've shared before, this training is intended to be taken in its entirety.
Lost rules. This is Diane Newfield from NYCCP. Just to continue with the slide on outreach and attendance, that if you're joining the webinar as a group, please complete the post-event survey, because we collect the names and the contact information for all the participants. You will get the credit for attending. So again, just reminding you to complete the post-survey at the end of the presentation. Questions and answers, and the questions may be submitted using the on-screen question box that I think is in the lower right-hand corner. If we don't get to answer all your questions, depending on the number of questions we get at the end, we will send out an email that will have all the questions and answers.
So, Diane, this is Laura Langer, and I'm the presenter today. I'm a little bit about myself. I'm the founder and CEO of Complete Compliance Solutions. We're a national company on training, education, policy, documentation, and auditing. Today, I'm going to be talking about your toolbox and describing all of the things that we've worked on throughout the entire series. This past year, we've really been building your toolbox. This webinar, and what I want to do today is I want to close the loop. So today we're going to learn what skills make you a valued member of the team and how to cultivate those skills in yourself. Communication, team player, confidence, multitasking, leadership, respect, solving, and a positive attitude. So let's talk a minute about self-knowledge, the ability to know yourself, view of your job, strengths and weaknesses, your objectives. All things affect your actions. Be aware of your own attributes and how they impact your actions. Develop the skill of looking at yourself critically. What you do well and what challenges you makes you better able to contribute. As a manager, it's easy to believe that we are responsible to meet all the needs of the individuals we serve, when in fact, knowing what you don't do well and recognizing that you need help yourself is the best service that you can actually provide. A performing employee has good listening, and speaking abilities. They are able to effectively communicate both new ideas, issues, and concerns to all of the team members. Updated on important changes and make sure that all team members have a clear understanding on project status. Every communication needs to be a novella or a novel. Instead, to communicate effectively. So how it's easy to say, but no one really provides us the guidance. Don't it. Time for face-to-face contact. Not everything can be handled in an email or a text in situations. It's easier to move past a problem if we're able to laugh at ourselves. Okay to disagree. You're not holding your breath, hanging on to something. Even when you don't agree, before you speak, take when you're becoming overly stressed. It's critically important. Beautiful activation prompts that we did in an earlier webinar. Sensitive includes body language, specifically things like eye contact. In cultures, making eye contact is frowned upon. Native American cultures, for example, believe the eyes are literally a window to the soul. Direct eye contact as an intimate act. Communication stoppers. It is wrong. Proof. Excuse me. Whatever. Starting new, we versus they or us versus them. Always gossip. Effective ever happens when phrases are used. Mind, while we're talking about your supervisory toolkit, these are also skills that you can use with your clients. Being a high-performing employee, as we said earlier, has both good listening, writing, and speaking abilities. She is to effectively communicate new ideas, issues, and concerns to the team members. They communicate on important changes and make sure all team members have a clear understanding of the project status or where the client is in English. That people tend to assume team roles. Find such roles that underlie the team's success. Find roles. Challenge the team to improve. Implement. Get things done. Complete. The PC that projects are completed thoroughly. Take the traditional team leader role. You can have more than one of these roles at the same time. Team people are negotiators and make sure the team is working together. Navigators with external stakeholders to help the team meet its objectives. Plans, come up with new ideas and approaches. Evaluators are the people who analyze and evaluate ideas that people come up with. Specific or specialist knowledge that's needed to get the job done. There's more than one of these roles at a time. Careful that you don't rely on one person to fill all the roles. Opportunity to engage as many staff people as possible. So having confidence is something that we work on all the time. A performing employee is confident in the work that they complete. He's secure in their decision-making ability. They don't waste time second-guessing themselves, afraid to take risks. As there, that sometimes one has to take a chance on new ideas in order to succeed. Confidence is the team believe in their abilities as well. Contagious. So that you put confidence, there's a likelihood that those around you will also demonstrate the same behavior. So confidence. You have to apply these things to a daily habit. Trump success. Help you will finish the task. Attacks into its agent. Train in knowledge, back the criticism, and let people know when you get a win. At least small doses. Not with friends or spouses or in your daily life. Because bragging, you build on your own confidence by pointing out in a matter-of-fact way that you were the one who accomplished something for the company. Confident because you get into the habit of self-reward and self-acknowledgement. To everyone, you gain confidence because you are holding yourself accountable. Speak loud helps you build credibility with others in the office and gain respect. Everyone. Attacks. They're meant to push you down and make you lose confidence. Happen. If you get this anger or resentment behind it, look for how you can change and grow. It works you and says you need to speak up at meetings, accept feedback. Speak more. The growing when you hear negative comments is what can build confidence. Your evidence as well. Because at least you can see the reactions to your viewpoint and then adjust as needed. Which means personal training. It helps build confidence because it goes right to the source of a problem. You looked at work. We're hesitant because you have the proper training. Correct. Courses in your field or go to a seminar or start growing your capabilities to counteract any feelings of inadequacy. To try when you face criticism that's bad confidence. If you give the just isn't true, reflecting on it and letting it destroy what you believe about yourself, just it out of hand. Try something more positive and remind yourself about the skills that you do have. It's because it's the brain cycles you waste on something negative that tend to lower your confidence. So you don't need to be a supervisor in order to be a leader. An employee with strong leadership skills often excels in the workplace. They aren't afraid to take charge of a situation. You need a leader to bring everyone together and provide guidance. So an employee takes on this role is often regarded highly. agency in which they work. This is also a great skill set to share with your clients. They can take on leadership roles. In attaining the goals that they're working on, they are more likely to be able to move forward. Asking. Employee is able to manage multiple projects at one time. They know prioritize and can easily determine when one project requires more of their attention than others. Ability to transition back and forth between different projects that they're working on. This you can apply the time management skills discussed in the last webinar. Care management happens in a bubble. Certainly not the issues the consumers need addressing. Multitask is more than doing two things at once. It will understand where completing one task and acting on multiple goals. For example, if you, as a care manager, need to identify resources specific to food, what with the information once you get it? A single repository where care managers can save that information so everyone can see it. Do you have resources that you keep? Or do you for the same information with each and every consumer? Who's working with a team member who says they'll do something and then doesn't follow through, but has a list of endless excuses. And when you feel confident about delivering it, include and a second point. So if you're on track, you can let your team know, but more importantly, you also become aware before it becomes a crisis. How to come up with a trustworthy plan of action, and with your supervisor or coworker who help you out. Being perfect around the clock at work. We all know that. There's constantly shifting priorities. Reliable is also about staying focused and towards the goal. Keep on the end result. Through what you say you will deliver, people will see you as trustworthy. Good problem-solving skills turns away from a challenge. They're unsure about how to handle the situation. Instead of avoiding a task because they don't know how to do it, they ask questions, perform research, and figure it out. It sets the employee apart from their peers and helps management view them as a valuable member of the team. Your solutions and towards those solutions. In trainings, we've also provided you with brainstorming techniques, play, and other skills that will help with problem solving. The methods are useful only to the extent they stimulate human thinking. No one tool is going to be able to help you find the solution to each problem as it comes forward. The tools guided you allow you to create environments in which you can cultivate it for other people, that you're able to come to the solution of the problem together. So what that I like to get to a solution of a problem is by using the PDCA lean method. The P for plan, the do, the C check. A can be either act or adjust. This well-known lean problem-solving technique is PDCA. You have to be in a crisis, fire mode, you'll appreciate some of its virtues. Its oversteps. It's easy to do. You're likely to almost any situation that you encounter. It's rough enough that it still works reasonably well, even if you do it poorly. Time to learn one problem-solving approach. You can't go wrong by starting with PDCA. So, attitude. We've talked about this a lot in both of our supervisory webinars and in our face-to-face training. Attitudes tend to perform better than those who behave in a negative manner. They're assigned to the same task, but one is excited to do the work and is pessimistic. The positive attitude is more likely to submit a higher quality work. People being around someone who's upbeat, energetic, and happy know to work with a negative person who brings everyone down. This is to say that you can't bring forward barriers or problems that may affect them that you're working on. It means you can't automatically dismiss things because you don't believe that they're possible without trying. That's the A. The A stands for both act or adjust. Positive attitudes are well liked by their coworkers. They're easy along with, and people are being around them. One wants to be around someone who's unhappy. Types of negativity breed more of the same. Sure, they're contagious. They have a bit of effect on the workplace. Similarly, they can go wrong at work. And to approach the issues with an upbeat attitude. That doesn't expect you to be Pollyanna. You do problems as they arise. What we're saying is that you have to look at each problem and find something in it that's strength in the same way that you do this when you work with your clients. A positive attitude about your job, spoken by Martin Luther King Jr. If it's for a lot to be the street sweeper, like Michelangelo painted pictures, like Beethoven composed music, like Con Price sing before the Metropolitan Opera, like Shakespeare wrote poetry. He contained that we should work in such a manner that people will say, "Lived a great street sweeper who's his job well." So every problem can be solved and worked on using different methods and tools such as PDCA. And if you have a positive attitude, it automatically implies that you also need to have flexibility. Performing employee is adaptable and full. They will schedule day priorities flexible to get their work done. All of us talked about this over and over in the trainings and on the supervisory webinars. How to constantly juggling the multitude of tasks that you in the course of one day. Flexibility is inherent in what you do on a day-to-day basis. Things are all changing at work. You come up and down. Competitors are popping up in nowhere. Co-workers come and go. Priorities shift. The ability to change, to be changed to circumstances. Otherwise, as the key to success, is timelessly important skill. Yet, sir, never emphasize the importance of this to me. If you're the storm of changes and manage to continue producing solid work, you will do your work 10 times over as an employee. The company changed processes quite often. Claims, employee over, a host of other factors caused the changes in processes. I manage myself through those changes rather than preventing them. Change can be incredibly frustrating. One moment you're using this database, the next moment you're using that one. At the swing of it, something is then changed. The company also has a number of changes to processes, trying a log. Management is asking for certain tasks to be done. It will keep track and make sure you're doing it right. Also, giving it due time, if your particular change makes things less efficient, a specific example of how, and find appropriate time to inform your supervisor or management. You will almost always be glad to listen when you're bring you to a solution. One effort you yourself were able to identify because you're the person in the field doing the work, being impacted the most. I realized until working at my first job out of college is that no company ever has a perfect system. I thought I had to find the right place, the right job. But there's problems everywhere. Things, idiosyncrasies, I look through. They're just different at different places. Most established ones figure things out by trial and error. Instead, about yet another company change, however big or small, think of learning experience, an opportunity for your voice to be heard by presenting solutions. Selling. Many people discipline is a dirty word. They equate with an absence of freedom or coercion or duty. Nothing could be further from the truth. According to Stephen Covey, only the disciplined are truly free. The others are slaves to moods, appetites, passions, whatever they're feeling in that moment. Work is the perfect environment to warm your self-discipline. Take for what is the drug of choice for the modern office worker? Email. Not addictive, but it is also the largest single interruption in modern life. According to Ferris, you and your boss a favor and become disciplined with checking your email. How you check it obviously depends on your job and your goal for that day. But trapped for every hour or at least twice a day. If it appeals to you, there are many other ways to exercise self-discipline in the workplace. You control your urges for snack food or soda. The whole point of this exercise is to commit to something and then follow through being more disciplined. It's always looking to improve their skill sets. How well they do their job, there's always room for self-improvement. They wait from others to improvement. They ask for help when needed. Every learning opportunity offered to them. They're being the best employee they can for the company. So, if you have these skills, one of the things we need to realize is that throughout the course of our job, there's accountability. Both personally holding ourselves accountable, but also we and our supervisor hold us accountable. So how self-accountable along supervisors and the company you work for? Well, there's two standard ways. Supervisors are uncomfortable holding people accountable and instead allow behaviors to continue until they escalate to the point where some are terminated. But part of that responsibility and accountability is each of ours. We are not moving forward and doing the kind of work that we was expected of us. It's important for each of us to hold ourselves accountable. The one way that we all face accountability is in our supervision, is that we reject feedback from others. Willingness to challenge our own self-perception. We feel weakness and we balance feedback So in our self-perception, clothes are just what they say, comfortable. You like what you're doing, and even if you don't, what you know is often better than what you don't know. Thing. Strong belief in oneself and one's ability are important factors in management and confidence, but because we don't take it to the extreme. Fear, weakness. A 360 review is often helpful. It's like asking you to say, so what is it you do wrong? And let's yell it from the mountaintop. People that how you frame it. Do only bring forth what you think is done well? Are you afraid because you feel it's actually going to be giving your supervisor ammunition to use against you? You'll be further from the truth. In forward, what it is that you feel you're struggling with or exposing your weakness, you have an opportunity to turn it into a strength. Address the weakness before it becomes a problem. Fear of feedback. People will only see the negatives in me. The good will be overlooked or ignored. Note, but I'm not a total idiot. You need to sure that actually doing is setting up feedback so that it's both positive and negative. In the 360 supervision, you need to actually do a supervisory worksheet. So, what supervisor's question? Please ask yourself in advance. Presenting issues. What is the point of care that you've agreed to with the client? Their plan. Do you have the knowledge and the skill to properly implement the interventions? If not, because what it is you need. What is there's progress? Both perspective and the supervisor's perspective. Different from each other. Can decide why the response is not what's expected on both ends. Recovery is different from expected patterns. We think this is. Hypothesize through formulation and consider. Client skill deficits, emotional responses, life circumstances, interpersonal reactions. Some other attachments that I'm going to share with you. One of the do is you can use something like this called a supervision template. Into supervision, some of you have told us in the past that you actually have worksheets that you use or templates that people fill out. But if here's that your care manager could use and fill out before going into your supervision. Which question is going to be? It's presenting issues. Goal you agreed to with the client. These things out, and you're specific to what you're going to address in your supervision. You could even send it to your supervisor in advance and allow you both to be on the same page, addressing the same issues. That you're able to have the accountability for yourself and with your supervisor is in the performance review. The benefits of a performance appraisal is that bustle of working life, we don't take the time to really look at things. It's a chance for a supervisor and a subordinate to have a timeout for one-on-one discussion of issues that otherwise might not be addressed. Don't mislead you. That sense review that you're completing with your supervisor is a formal check-in on the goals and those things that you've agreed to work on over the past year. It doesn't mean that the performance review only comes out once a year. To realize that the review should be part of your ongoing supervision. If your supervisor it to your supervisor as a one-on-one, then maybe you should add that to your supervisory checklist. Pick one goal. Make sure you know that the supervisor understands where it is that you think you are in this process. As a supervisor, you need to make sure that the supervisee understands where you think they are in the same process. Pray for a valuable opportunity to focus on work activities and goals, to identify and correct existing problems, and to encourage better future performance. Build on your strengths. In multiples of individual impacts, the performance of the whole is enhanced. Universally, where performance appraisal is conducted properly, supers and supervisees have reported the experience to be beneficial. A official appraisal interview may be the only time that they get uninterrupted access with their supervisor for any real extent of time. It focuses not on the client, but on you, the supervisee. A large organization, after its first formal performance appraisal, in years of work, that's the first one bothered to sit down with me and tell me how I'm doing. The intense interaction between supervisors and supervisees, and it shouldn't be underestimated. Value that it brings to the relationship that the two of you will have. So, also into an annual appraisal, we allow the supervisor to lead the discussion. When an annual appraisal is something you do together, both prepare for that appraisal, gather information, performance journal notes, prepare accomplishments, do evaluation, prepare a list of areas that you believe you need development in, dress for the upcoming period, open mind. You own your own performance review. It's a tool to add to your toolbox. Let's do each of the steps on how you prepare. Gather information. Get out your job description and competencies and development plans set out for you at your last appraisal. If you appraisal because you're relatively new or your sort of changed and you didn't have one the year prior, go and start to fill these things out for yourself. Use foundation for preparing details, your accomplishments, and the areas for development. Regular reports you've created. Weekly reports, monthly highlights, project status reports. Put your supervision should have notes attached to it. Those notes go back and reflect. What did you build on? What barriers did you address and work on and overcome? Then call your performance highlights and your milestones, as well as any challenges you had. It's helpful to review your last appraisal and look at the feedback that you were getting and meetings that you had. For you to get a sense of how you've grown and developed over the last period. So hold everything together. Then what you want to do is you want to review your performance. Journal of your performance over the last performance cycle now and your notes. If you don't call it a journal, that's fine. You just put notes. You may want to go back through emails that you have been able to keep track of. Notice or themes that reveal things like particular strengths that you have, challenge situations, skills that you need to develop or have taken the time to develop, particularly on your own. Projects that you really enjoy doing. If you didn't today, keep your activities, accomplishments, successes, and challenges. This is not list how wonderful you are. It's a full picture of how your work is. Capture details while they're fresh in your mind. Have hands help both you and your supervisor get a more objective view of your performance over the entire period. Let's be honest. When you go to a review, what often happens is the only thing you remember is the last 3 months. And if it was 3 months, well, that's wonderful. But if it was great 3 months, you really don't want the entire year's appraisal to be based on those 3. It will operation for your next appraisal faster and easier. So listing your accomplishments. Evaluation in the background. You're ready to prepare a list of your accomplishments. And it's important to relate them to the goals and the higher level organizational goals. You can write, oh, you know what? I'm able to do something that's wonderful in your eyes, but in fact, it has nothing to do with what your goals were to work on or anything that's relative to where the agency is moving. As you do it, that you get the how and not just the what. You've been able to improve your documentation skills. It demonstrates medical necessity. It's done in a more timely fashion. It's because you and took it upon yourself to be mentored by someone, spend time with a staff person who does these skills well, and you've wanted to practice them. Did you go online and take a course? It's an effort, just the outcome. Let's be clear. Don't use this as a diary or a performance journal. Give your manager a contextual details they need to understand your performance. Performance over the whole period of the review. Gather letters, emails, certificates of recognition, awards, etc. Document exemplary performance for last appraisal. Written communications that identify challenges or problems with knowledge and performance. Any training or development activities you completed. Opportunity to let your light shine. It's okay little. Your user may not be aware of all the great things you've done, especially the many small things that can really add up to make a difference. There's so much to do. Through all of the webinars and conversations we've had with you over the course of this year, the one thing that has rung true has been how much work you guys have to complete in such a short period of time. So it's easy to overlook those things that you've done well in the hustle and bustle of the day. This opportunity to bring those forward. Information and background for your discussion with your supervisor during the meeting. Or admit it to the supervisor before the review in order to help them also prepare in advance of your discussion. Okay, self-evaluation. The company doesn't formally do them. The idea to complete a self-evaluation before you go in to complete the evaluation with your supervisor. You use the same performance evaluation form that the supervisor will be using. go through competency and goal listed and rate your performance. Here we really have to have some self-awareness in your ratings. The goal exercise is not to campaign for yourself, but to share your perception of your performance with your supervisor before the meeting. You can use details from your accomplishments and the journal notes to provide summaries of your performance of goals. You can list or cite specific examples of your work to back up your ratings that you're giving yourself. Idea ratings with your supervisor before the meeting. It'll help in the meeting and flag any differences between the perceptions. But you bring it to your meeting and use it as a reference document as you speak to each other. So now what I often think to people is the easiest part. Very capable of listing all the things they don't do well. These that you failed on, or even things that are a problem, they're just areas for development. In description and competency, goals, the performance journal, list of events, etc. Areas where you felt you struggled, seeing that you didn't meet the task, or that you weren't successful in meeting the goal. It wasn't as easy as you thought. Or it took you getting training or some other things, and you struggled unnecessarily. Or where not, others may have noted your performance lack. Make note of all these things. Identify any areas where you would like to expand your skills, experience, or expertise with others as part of your career growth and progression. How group supervision, there are opportunities for you to share specific skills that you have. Honor your struggles. And when your supervisor or manager asks for coaching, training, or whatever support you need to develop, improve, or be more successful. No effect. Both strengths and have areas that need development. Really continually learning and developing their skills. Your career plans. If you can, be prepared to talk to your supervisor about that. That you want to learn. Is there a job in the agency that you think that you would like? Is there you're working towards? What knowledge, experience do you develop in order to achieve those goals? If then, advance work. Look at training activities available through your company, training vendors that they use that might further develop the particular skills you're talking about. An appraisal and say, here are the things I want, and expect someone else to find them. With resources available, opportunities and time that you'll be able to go. One training. Use like special assignments, work, shadowing, reading. Any helps you learn and the skills that you need. So we then take all this information and don't for someone to hand down your goals to you. Proactive approach and have some possible goals, job description, your department or the organization's level goals. You can use experience, abilities, etc. In those, you might want to look for opportunities to expand your duties, broaden knowledge, or take more responsibility. Do and refine these in your meeting with your supervisor or manager. Here's the key to this. Say that you use strengths to develop goals with your clients or to build your goals on your strengths. So now go in and have this meeting with your supervisor. What you need to do is you need to prepare an open mind. Before you can prepare the open mind, what I'm going to suggest is that you use one of the tools that we're going to hear. So a discussion worksheet for the pre-meeting checklist. You can call anything you want. What I'm trying to do is help you figure out the information about yourself. So what are the dates of any previous discussions you've had on topics that you want to address? Have you things up in the past? Has your supervisor brought things up in the past that you think need to be addressed again? How do your overall job performance? Remember, we're not talking about the last 3 months. We're talking about all those things that you've just taken the time to pull together. That's 12 months. What things need improvement? So then talk about impact. How can the strengths be used to address those areas that need improvement? You need to take the information you have and frame the conversation, hold accountable, and bring information into your annual performance review. Then go ahead and start to set up some of the goals and the time frames to meet those goals. So you have done all of the work that we've talked about in advance, and you've completed the form and you've sent it to your supervisor. But the thing that you really have to do is you have to go in with an open mind. A performance appraisal meeting with our manager, feeling a bit defensive. We're ready for the battle. We'll look to hear criticism, or we're jockeying for ratings and positioning that impact our compensation or advancement in the company. When you're defensive, for the performance appraisal meeting by trying to relax and lower the defensiveness you're aware of. You're going to listen deeply to the feedback that you're provided, as well as the goals and development plans laid out for you. So what you do is say that as you're meeting, you should work with your supervisor to develop a post-meeting summary of the discussion. Do the same thing. So when I was both a supervisee and a supervisor, a week or two after my appraisal, I would have a conversation with someone and realize the two of us heard two totally different things. Like the active listening skills that we shared with you in previously, to be able to just simply repeat what someone says. You have to be able to understand their intent. The discussion, the action that the employee is going to take to meet their goals. Is you understand you need to do. Other solutions to be taken by yourself or other people to help you meet the goals. So you have to find a trainer. Maybe you need to be mentored. Maybe you're going to mentor someone else. Action to the comments about the discussion. That you can add to this also include what are responsibilities that the supervisor is committed to doing with you, said they make happen, and what the time frame. We've gone ahead, we have tried to wrap up in the webinar all of the different tools and ways in which you can come full circle. Does it mean that these are the only 2 things or 3 things we're talking about when we say your toolkit? I wanted for just a few minutes all of the linkages and all of the tools that we've provided you. I want to be careful. Links will take you to a different tool. We are telling you here that were reviewed in webinars are simply that, the tools themselves. You need to go back to the webinars, watch the webinars that show you how to use the tool. It isn't the tool in the way it's intended and the way you were shown in the webinar. To simply go ahead and just print it and apply it isn't going to be most effective. Provide 3 sites in which you have been given some specific tools. What you'll see here is skills you need in mind tools. And for those of you that have attended the face-to-face, you'll know that I love a lot of the tools in mind tools. Here are some active listening skill sets. We included the link for the cultural activation. We need to go back to the webinar. We on the stages of change. Interviewing. Personal resources. Forms under safety. We've talked a lot about all of the times that you guys have asked for information when it comes to other health chronic illnesses and some of the other things that you have here in this section. Time and tools. These are things that were shared in the prior webinar that you can go view again. Interviewing, I have to admit, probably my favorite. Some of the supervisory worksheets we've also provided you. So at this time, if you want to go ahead and some of the questions that the participants provided.
Do you have any questions submitted yet? I'll give folks a couple of seconds to just type in their questions.
Anyone that has a question about what we've presented today, take a second and go ahead and write those. I'd be happy to answer them. I actually can see the question, Diane. So it says, can a weekly supervision form be too long? I think it really depends on what it is that you guys have laid out as the format for your supervision. Look, 2 pages long, it's clearly too long. You're looking for something that drives down to the detail. So what is the purpose of your weekly supervision? Be a section on those problems that are not moving the way you want them to move, that you want to address. There should also be a section on upcoming changes, things that are being changed in the way that you work or in the organization. And of course, there should always be a short segment or a touch point on the things we talked about with your annual review or professional development. So it's very helpful information, and I know I will need to review. That's okay, I have to review what I write, providing the slide. Yes, at the end of this, we have an opportunity to download the slides and the attachments. It says, I have no question, however, I want to make a comment. This training was very informative. Thank you. Glad that you felt it was informative. I look forward to meeting the rest of the sessions with the supervisors. I have to say, you all have been a wonderful group of people to work with all year long. We don't have give it just see if we have a few more questions. If not, we will go to the next slide. Okay, it looks like there are no questions. I don't know if that means you're totally confused or we covered the topics well. WORKSHEET for covered the topics well. And what we want to do is take a moment to go over next steps. So joining the webinar as a group, please complete the post-event survey, which will appear in a new window immediately after the webinar itself ends. You want to get credit for all of this wonderful work you've done. Make sure that you write in all the people in the room that are attending the webinar. This serves the opportunity to provide names and email addresses of the participants who watched the webinar with you, not logged in themselves. We want to give everybody credit. This way that each person receives credit for attending and will have access to all the materials, including the Q&A email. So this has been recorded on the CPI Learning Management System. Contact someone, you can contact NIAPRA and CPI at the emails provided. Participating, and now I think you're going to see the pop-up window.